back, everybody. Today we are working on a Husqvarna W436. It's a walk behind 36 inch. It's got a Vanguard 18 horsepower twin cylinder Briggs & Stratton. We are also working on a Yazoo keys, and it's a commercial 36 inch. This is the one I rebuilt the deck on, cut out the rot, welded in new, installed new spindles and blades and stuff like that for it last year. It has a Kawasaki twin cylinder on it. And they both get a servicing. I've already started the servicing on the Husqvarna. I've already warmed them both up. I drained the oil out of the Husqvarna. And I'm changing the oil filter on it now. I got tired of making a mess when you pull the oil filter off. So I just took one of these little small oil containers, one of the small ones. I just cut it out like that. And it just fits up under there, like so. And when you unscrew that filter, it all drains into there and you have no mess. So that's a nice little trick to save you some time and from getting the customer's mower all messy and you got to sit there and try to get it wiped up. It takes this maintenance kit. It's from Stens. There's the part number of the entire kit, and there's the part number of each individual piece that's in it. And it comes with this oil filter here. It's upside down. I don't want to turn it over right now because I pour oil in mine before I install them. So it's one of the first things I do. I'll pour the oil in there, and while I'm doing the rest of it, it's soaking in. But this is the filter that I took off. And this is the filter that I put on it last year. Right, and it's a Fram PH 8172. Take a little bit of time and you can convert these over to the Frams or whatever your favorite brand is, or whatever brand it is you want to use. You don't have to be Fram. And because the little small engine filters, they're like 10 bucks a piece. These here are anywhere from 3 to 5. So it's a pretty good savings, and they do the same thing. There's really no difference in them, really. I'm sure there's some difference, but nothing that's going to bother anything. I'm sure it probably has a difference on the valving, but even when I did my research on that, I do believe, if I remember right, it was like last year or 2 years ago when I did my research on these, converting these over, even the little bypass was at the same TSI. So or there was very little difference. So if you own one of these Husqvarna's W436, that is the maintenance kit I use. And if I don't buy the maintenance kit, I just buy the oil and an oil filter. I just use 10W30 because it's an overhead valve. And When I converted it over, it was the Fram PH 8172 if you're just going to buy the filter and oil. So I'll bring you back throughout the process of this and show you some little tidbits as I go along. All right, so I'm installing spark plugs, and so we'll talk a little bit about that. Earlier today on another mower, I went to go take the plugs out so I can relieve the compression on a cylinder to see if I had a starter issue or something else was going on. And when I went to go take them out, it took no effort at all to break them loose and get them out. So that tells me that they never even tightened it up properly. So I'm installing this one now, and on the other side we'll go over what needs to be done. So on these spark plugs, they got a washer on it. That washer is called a crush washer. It's called that for a reason. And you need to do just that. Crush the washer, because that's what creates your seal between the plug and the cylinder. And if you don't create a seal between there, you'll actually have a leak and you'll lose a little bit of compression, which might not seem like a lot, but when you have a piece of equipment that's, we'll just say, hogging through tall grass, you've lost some power for it to do so. And when you start losing power and you're starting to force it to do more than what it's powered, than what the power it has versus what it's supposed to have, then you could overheat the mower and possibly ruin the motor. So so basically all I do is I choke up on the ratchet real good, and whatever I can do with one hand, that's got the washer crushed right there, and I'll go just a little bit more from the end of the ratchet. So let me set you up on the other side. All right, I had a viewer send me a comment, and I appreciate that comment. He let me know that, like, my intro and outro of my videos are really loud compared to me talking. And I appreciate him letting me know that, and I'll let him know that I'm kind of new to the editing. You know, this is a new channel, I've never done it before, so so I'm going to try to figure out what I need to do to correct that issue. So bear with me. I will try to figure out what I need to do. In the meantime, I'll talk a little louder. Hopefully that'll help some. And I'll see what I need to do for the music on the intro and outro. All right. So when I went to go loosen this spark plug, it was wasn't really as tight as I think it should have been. Now, some people worry about the aluminum head. Maybe at one time, when aluminum heads were fairly new and they were still trying to figure out the formula of the aluminum so that it would last and withstand, maybe at one time, you know, the aluminum heads were kind of soft. But nowadays, these aluminum heads are tougher than you think. They've got it figured out pretty good. You can actually put a little bit of torque to it. I'm not saying kill it, but you can actually put a little torque to it. So it looks like this one might have been, this cylinder might have been running a little rich. It's black and sooty. Not sure what that come from, but I'll monitor it throughout the year to see if it continues to do the same thing. If so, maybe there's an issue, or maybe it's just a one-off thing. But that ring right there is the crush washer that I'm talking about. You have to crush that washer and you can feel it in your hand while you're doing this. And once you crush that washer and just give it a little squeak more, you're good. You've got a good seal now. Also, when you get plugs, don't take for granted that they are adjusted to where you need them to be, because you bought a kit for this mower. No, they just grabbed a plug, they just grabbed a filter and stuff like that that will work for this application and threw it in a box. So this will actually fit multiple applications, and it may be different. So the last one was like 20 or 25. All right, so I can get an 18 to fit, but I can't get a 25 to fit. So it's probably right around 20. Well, this is a Briggs & Stratton, and it's a twin cylinder. All Briggs & Strattons go 30 thousandths. So I need to open this up a bit. There's the end of a little tool there on the end of your tool. And you just hook it on, and you wrench back on it a little bit, and that will help spread that prong away from the center electrode. And then measure it again, see if you've gone far enough or too far. And I still haven't gone far enough. I'm close. I'm not there yet. And there we go. Now if you go too far, you can take this tool and pull it back, or you can just take and drop it on something solid like the top of here or this deck. Just kind of drop it a little bit and it'll bend it back some. Anti-seize, good idea for threads on your spark plug, because steel to aluminum is not a match, so it can cause a little bit of corrosion due to different metals being together. So this will help protect that. If everybody remembers the Ford Triton V8, their spark plugs were breaking off into heads and coming apart because it was a two-piece spark plug. Things like that. Little Never-Seize may have helped that a little bit. Not saying it would have cured it, but it may have helped a little bit. Thread that in by hand is what I normally do to get it started. There we go, we're bottomed out. I'm going to choke up on the ratchet. And there we go, and I'm going to get a little squeak more. And that should do it. So that's just a little tidbit there for spark plugs. I have gotten people that brought me mowers before and said, hey man, this ain't running right. And it's like it's down on power. I don't know what's wrong with it. I said, well, have you done anything to it? Well, yeah, I changed the oil and spark plugs in it. I said, okay, that's all you done to it? He goes, yeah. I said, all right, I'll look at it. I'll let you know something in a day or two. And come to find out, the spark plugs were not even tight. And that's all it was. I ran into 1 or 2 of those so far in the 30 years I've been doing this. So make sure you're crushing that sleeve and give it a little squeak more, and your spark plugs will be good to go.